The Fall of Albion. The film opens in a war-torn London where strange, mystical creatures, shadowy figures from another dimension, are wreaking havoc. The British military struggles to contain the threat, but their weapons are ineffective. Amidst the chaos, MI13, a secret government agency specializing in supernatural threats, watches helplessly. Their leader, Commander Pete Wisdom, knows there is only one person who can stop this: Brian Braddock. Cut to a secluded countryside estate, where Brian Braddock, a former MI13 agent, now lives in exile. Once known as Captain Britain, Brian turned his back on heroism after a failed mission cost innocent lives. He drowns in regret, unwilling to return to the battlefield. However, destiny has other plans. Merlin, the ancient sorcerer who once granted Brian his powers, appears before him with a dire warning. The other world is bleeding into your realm. If you do not act, Britain will fall. Brian resists at first, but when he sees a vision of London, reduced to ruins, he realizes he has no choice. He dons his suit once more, the Union Jack emblem across his chest, and prepares for battle. The rise of Captain Britain. Brian returns to MI13's headquarters, where he reunites with Commander Wisdom and Dane Whitman, Black Knight. They explain the situation. A powerful villain known as Morgan Le Fay, an ancient sorceress banished centuries ago, has found a way to merge the realms of Earth and the mystical otherworld. Using a relic known as the Grail of Avalon, she plans to reshape reality, restoring Camelot under her tyrannical rule. To stop her, Brian and his team must recover Excalibur, the only weapon capable of sealing the rift between worlds. However, Excalibur is hidden in the ruins of Tintagel, the legendary birthplace of King Arthur, now crawling with Morgan's dark knights. Quest for Excalibur. Brian, Dane, and a small MI13 team travel to Cornwall, where they infiltrate the ruins of Tintagel Castle. The castle is protected by the Shadow Guard, ancient knights resurrected by Morgan's magic. A brutal battle ensues. Brian's superhuman strength and agility are put to the test, while Dane wields his ebony blade against the spectral knights. Inside the ruins, Brian faces his greatest test yet, a trial by combat against Sir Lancelot's ghost. Lancelot, cursed to guard Excalibur, tests Brian's worthiness. Though Brian is powerful, he cannot defeat Lancelot through strength alone. Instead, he proves his courage by refusing to strike down an honorable opponent, passing the test. Lancelot grants Brian Excalibur, warning him that only the true king can wield it fully. As Brian takes the sword, he sees visions of a future where he leads Britain's warriors against an apocalyptic invasion, the Siege of London. With Excalibur in hand, Brian and his team return to London, now overrun by Morgan's forces. Her floating fortress, a darkened version of Camelot, looms above Westminster. The final battle begins. Brian, now fully embracing his role as Britain's champion, leads the charge. Black Knight, MI13 agents and mystic allies like Faiza Hussein, Excalibur's healer, and John Constantine, a wildcard magic user, fight alongside him. Inside the fortress, Brian confronts Morgan Le Fay. She tempts him with visions of a Britain where he rules as a god, but Brian resists. They clash in a duel of magic and steel, Excalibur against Morgan's dark sorcery. As Morgan prepares a final devastating spell, Brian channels the full power of Excalibur, sealing the rift and banishing her back to the otherworld. However, the energy backlash is too strong, and Brian is caught in the explosion. London is saved, but at a cost. Brian is missing, presumed dead. MI13 mourns their greatest hero, but Merlin appears with a cryptic message. Captain Britain's story is far from over. In the final scene, deep in Avalon, Brian awakens in a golden realm, standing before a mysterious figure, King Arthur himself. To be continued.